In contract law, not every promise between parties are legally binding. One of the essential elements of a valid contract is the intention to create good relations. This means that the parties must intend to the agreement to have legal consequences if it is breached. This principle can be seen in the landmark case of Belfer and Belfer 1990. Let's take a look at the case.
La 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 la. Romantic Sunday. La 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 la. This so beautiful and shining light.
On this day, two lives become one. With a smile, a promise, and a simple exchange of rings, Mr. and Mrs. Belfer begin a new chapter together. Not just as individuals, but as partners in love, in hope, and in life.
Sweet smile, day and night.
To celebrate their love, Mr. Belfer invites his wife on a journey far from home, England. Together, they explore new places, create new memories, and lost themselves in the beauty of England. But happiness changed in an instant. Mrs. Belfer suddenly feels weak and unwell.
Ouch! Ouch!
So, Mrs. Belfer, after I checked your condition carefully, you have suffered with this rheumatoid arthritis.
So doctor, does this mean I cannot travel back yet? I was supposed to return back to Zealand with my husband.
I'm afraid you can't because long distance travel may worsen your condition. So you need proper rest and treatment immediately.
So doctor, what do you suggest?
I suggest that she must stay in England until she fully recovers. I think it could take several months.
Several months? That's a long time.
Yes, because your health is more important. Please follow my advice.
I'm scared to stay here alone. What if I needed money for my daily expenses?
Don't worry, I will abandon you. Even I have to return to Zealand for work. I promise I will send you £30 every month.
Are you sure? I'll be depending on that money to survive here.
Yes, I promise. That is my responsibility.
Alright, I trust you. I will stay in England and take care of my health.
Time passes. At first, Mrs. Belfer feels relief. Each month, £30 arrives as promised. It gives her comfort and a sense of security. But slowly, things begin to change. One month, the amount is less than usual. Confusion replaces her relief. Then another month passes. No money arrives at all. Disappointment turns into anger. Unable to remain silent, Mrs. Belfer sits down and writes a letter. A letter reminding Mr. Belfer of the promise he once made. To her, that promise was the reason she stayed in England. A promise she depended on, not only for money, but for security and trust. As the letter comes to an end, a patient does too. She realized that words are no longer enough. What was a love now becomes the center of a legal dispute. Mrs. Belfer decides to file a case against Mr. Belfer, believing that a broken promise must carry consequences.
Your Honor, this case concerns a promise made by husband to his wife. Mr. Balfour promised to pay £30 per month while Mrs. Balfour remained in England due to illness. Because of this promise, Mrs. Balfour stayed in England and depended on that money for her living expenses. The payments were made at first, but later reduced and eventually stopped completely.
Are you saying the promise was relied upon?
Yes, Your Honor. Mrs. Balfour acted based on that promise. When the payment stopped, she suffered financial hardship.
Your Honor, this promise was made while the parties were still husband and wife. It was a domestic arrangement, not a commercial agreement. There was no discussion of legal consequences, no intention to enter into a legally binding contract.
But the wife depend on the payment, did she not?
Dependence alone does not create a contract, Your Honor. There must be intention to create legal relations.
I understand. However, since Mrs. Balfour relied on the promise for her maintenance, I find in favor of Mrs. Balfour. So, the promise is impossible. Judgment for the...
Wait a minute. I think this is not the answer of the news.
It's okay, sir. We will appeal this decision soon. Your Honor, this appeal concerns a promise made within a marriage. Such agreements are presumed not to be legally binding. At the time the promise was made, Mr. and Mrs. Balfour are living together as husband and wife. There was no intention to create legal relations.
So, do you say this was merely a family arrangement?
Exactly, Your Honor. If every promise between spouses were enforceable, ordinary marital life would become subject to litigation.
What about the fact that payments were made initially?
That does not change the nature of the agreement. Performance alone cannot turn a domestic promise into a contract.
Your Honor, Mrs. Balfour remained in England due to illness. She relied on her husband's promise for financial support, so it would be unfair to allow Mr. Balfour to escape his responsibility.
The law does not usually interfere in domestic agreement. Agreement between husband and wife are not intended to be legally binding. There was no bargain, no intention to create legal relation, and therefore no contract. The appeal is allowed. Judgment for Mr. Balfour.
Very interesting, right? So I hope by watching the case earlier, you will have a better understanding about what is intention to create legal relation. Bye!